Hey, it's Dave and Melissa again. And by now you probably think that a Steelers jersey is the only thing that Melissa has to wear. We just end up making these videos on Sundays. So anyway, hey, I guess kind of a part 3 to our meal prep videos, and we were talking about how we kind of plan for the weeks and all of that. Again, kind of want to do a part 3 and talk a little bit about how how we food prep, if you will. And I know what a lot of people do is they'll take 5 or 7 Tupperwares and they'll put in their meal for each of those. We don't really do it that way. And by the way, that's like a great way to do it. That's a great way to do it. It's just not how I do it. And so I guess I kind of wanted to give you a little bit of an alternative. Okay, normally for me, I eat the same breakfast every day. My pre-workout is the same. My post-workout's the same. So then we have our supper. And we did talk about how we do, I guess video 1 was kind of how we do our meals. And so that really leaves, I guess what I wanted to talk about today was that lunchtime meal, okay? And I'll tell you, for me, very often, that's a leftover thing, right? So if we had like chili, for example, I would use that chili the next day or 2 days later and kind of alter it, I think as I said in video 2, of how I make that fit my macros. But the other thing that we do is we keep food around the house that is kind of ready for us to food prep with, right? Mm-hmm. So for example, in our refrigerator or freezer, we will keep proteins kind of ready to go. And as I mentioned before, we kind of group this into 4 different categories: proteins, fats, carbohydrates, and like leafy green vegetables. So we try to get vegetables in every meal too. So proteins, what kind of proteins do we keep in the fridge?
A lot of times we'll have chicken. Certainly anything that might be from leftover from the night before, a chicken dinner, beef dinner. I also keep beans in the fridge.
Yeah. Lately you've been making a lot of chicken kind of parts, thighs, breasts. You do that in the crock pot?
I'll do a whole chicken. Sometimes I'll just do chicken thighs too, which is really good.
Yeah. We'll also have we normally keep like hamburgers or even bison burgers in the fridge too. So after they've been grilled, we'll keep them in the fridge. And so that usually kind of handles our proteins then.
Yeah, typically, right? Yeah. Okay. I will say that, for some people, you can't, keep your proteins in the refrigerator too long because it might not feel good to you. So if you do know that, after day 2 you can't eat the protein, then I would suggest that you take those leftovers and probably freeze them, and then that way they don't go to waste, but then you can still pull them out later.
And that might even help you if you are doing the 5 or 7 individual containers at that point. So that kind of covers our protein. In terms of carbohydrates, we normally have some carbohydrates in the fridge. Brown rice, white rice. I do eat a fair amount of tortillas, so we normally have like whole wheat tortilla shells in the fridge too. Anything else? Any other carbs?
Sometimes if we have baked potatoes, microwaving
potatoes
is really easy and really fast. Sometimes we do potato fries in the oven, and they'll have leftovers of those.
Baked sweet potatoes.
Baked sweet potatoes.
Yeah. So you're right. So the carbs that we normally keep around the house would be white rice, brown rice, cooked in the fridge, and potatoes. And what else did I mention before? Or like the shells, like a wrap, kind of a whole wheat wrap.
We also eat a lot of rice cakes. Delicious.
Yeah. Well, and maybe I'll do another video sometime about my post-workout meals, because that's normally when I eat rice cakes, would be post-workout. The other kind of macronutrient then would be fats. And what do we do for fats? My go-to fats would be olive oil, nuts. I love almonds and macadamia nuts, avocados. Okay, so those are the fats that we normally go to.
Yes.
So for me, and then let me kind of segue that into vegetables. We normally have salad stuff in the fridge. I like lettuce kind of ready to go, and then we have fresh and frozen vegetables. If I make a salad, I'll put oil and vinegar dressing or some kind of formulation of oil and vinegar on there, and really use that salad as a vehicle to get that olive oil in me, right? If I'm not having a salad, that's when I'll tend to go to like nuts, like macadamia nuts, a great source of real quality fats, and you got to get those quality fats in because they help out with your kind of normalizing or resetting your hormonal levels. So great, so important. By the way, it's a big mistake I've made over the years of not getting enough quality fats in my diet. Any other fats that we kind of keep around and ready to go?
Really, those are the olive oil, the nuts are the two that I go to all the time. You like the avocados, which is great.
Almond butter.
Almond butter.
Yeah, almond butter is a big one that we'll go to. I will often use almond butter as my fat in the morning. I'll put it on a piece of whole wheat toast, or I like Ezekiel bread. So that's kind of my breakfast go-to. The Ezekiel bread with the almond butter kind of covers those macros for me. Sorry, didn't
Yeah,
I?
and I like sun butter, so that's not the same as almond butter.
I have
It's
no
made
idea what
from
that is.
sunflower seeds.
Sunflower. Oh, so it's sunflower seed butter. Got it.
Yes.
Got it. And vegetables, as I mentioned, we have salad stuff in the fridge. From a nutrient standpoint, there's really not a whole lot of difference from the research I've done from fresh to frozen. I think fresh definitely has a better taste, but convenience, frozen's pretty good.
But something on the convenience side to help out, when I go and buy a bunch of vegetables, I'll come in like a big thing of cauliflower or broccoli and maybe some peppers. I'll bring them all out and I'll cut everything up into easy to use pieces, so they're all ready to go. Then it's less of a burden to think about cooking and preparing vegetables, because I can just take a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You can put the vegetables in the microwave to steam them, or you can actually pull out your steamer on the stove, very easy. Or you can put them into salads or saute them, or however. And as long as they're cut up in advance, the idea of cooking them is not as daunting.
You make a lot of what are they? Broiled vegetable? What do you do?
Roasted.
I'm sorry, roasted. Yeah. And when you do those, you just put them on a big cookie sheet, a couple different types of vegetables. What do you season those with?
Garlic powder, salt and pepper.
They're
and
just in the
olive
fridge.
oil.
I don't even know. how you
Yeah,
do
and
it.
olive oil, and I roast them for 30 minutes, and we eat some right away, but the rest we just put in the refrigerator and just pull them out and add them to salads, or heat them up and eat them with the proteins and the other carbohydrates.
Yeah. By the way, on one last thought on vegetables, really I would suggest you focus on the cauliflower and broccoli. They are great to start helping reduce body fat around the midsection. For some reason, they really hit those areas pretty good. So again, that's what we do. We don't do the 5 or 7 Tupperware containers and make the same thing. This gives us a little bit of variety. Again, you want to do the 5 or 7 containers and take them lunch and put them in the freezer. It's freaking great. That's a great way to do it. That's just not how we do it, and I just wanted to give you an alternative. Anything else?
No.
Have a great week. Thanks.
Bye.